everyone, and welcome back to Heart Breathings. Today we are going to talk about something that has been requested by many of you in several of the video comments, which is what in the world is going on with that board back there, and am I using it as a storyboard? Well, the answer is actually no, it is not a storyboard for me, but it is actually a business planning board. This is how I plan my year, how I plan my tasks. This is how I get everything done, even though I'm a mom to a 5-year-old, I'm writing several books a year, managing a 6-figure business, and now I've started this sort of second business of coaching other authors and giving out tips and tricks. So this is how I get it all done, is with this little board back there. So I'm going to show you all how I do it. So the key to how I'm getting everything done is that I'm actually not getting everything done. There would be absolutely no way that as an indie author I don't have a personal assistant anymore, I'm doing this pretty much all by myself. There would be no way for me to get every single thing done, because it feels like every day there's somebody else posting on Facebook, hey, have you tried this new program? Hey, have you done this new social media? Why aren't you over here on Twitter being active in this Twitter chat? And it could just go on and on and on. There's just a million things I would love to try. I would love to be more active on Instagram and my Facebook, and trying this and doing this with my newsletter. But as you well know, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're an author who is an indie author, you know just as well as I do that there are so many things that pull our focus, and we could just have an endless to-do list that we would never ever accomplish or get done. But we do need to know the most important things in our business that move us forward, instead of doing all of these busy work tasks that really don't get us anywhere. Like, I learned very early on that Facebook parties and author takeovers don't really work so well for me. So when someone asks me, hey, would you do this author takeover on my blog Facebook page? No, I don't have time for that. It doesn't mean that that blog isn't great or that that blogger isn't great, but that hasn't worked to translate into enough sales to make up for the 2 to 3 hours of time that I lose. And that's something that you begin to learn over time, is like what works, what doesn't work. But in order to know what works and what doesn't work, you have to actually be getting in there and trying the things that you most want to try, the things that are truly your priorities. And where I found that I was making a huge mistake is that I wasn't even really setting my own priority. What I was doing is I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I was like, well, she's doing this, so I'm going to try it. Or he said to do this, so I'm going to try that too. And I was just, trying everything. And what would happen is at the end of a year, I would have had like all these goals and all these things I would have wanted to accomplish. And I would have written less books than I meant to, which, let's face it, writing the books and putting the books out is the number one things that actually makes me money and grows my career. So to ignore that in favor of like Facebook parties or conventions was not the smartest thing that I could have done. And I started to understand that over time. I was getting less books written. I was doing less of the more important marketing things that needed to get done. And I was really feeling super overwhelmed because I had all these projects that were started and very few that were actually being completed. I knew that I had to change. What I've started doing that has really, really changed everything for me over the last year is I am planning my year, instead of like sitting down like I used to and trying to, like in December, planning out my goals for the entire year and like constantly redoing it. When I found out I was behind, like every 30 days, I would redo that plan. What I decided to do was to plan in quarters, or in about 90-day segments. So January, February, March, Q1, I set 3 main goals. And then underneath those goals, I set projects to help me achieve those goals. And then every project has a list of tasks. And if that sounds a little bit confusing, I will walk you through it in just a minute. But I set those main goals. Then I set my projects that I wanted to complete. And then I set my tasks. And everything else, everything that was not in that 90-day plan, was just something I didn't worry about for this quarter. For example, I have really, really badly been wanting to do some things on Wattpad, because I have a lot of success there with my Beautiful Demons books that are up, and I've got a lot of followers, like over 2,000, almost 3,000 followers there, and I've really wanted to do something fun to see if I could engage more people over there, to see if I could offer more free things for my core fan base and see if they would enjoy reading it over there. It's just something I've wanted to try, but I did not have time in quarter one, and once I set out my plan and I set my priorities, I understood understood, okay, that's something that's just going to have to wait. So happily, it is now in my Q2 plan, but I didn't spend any time Q1 stressing out about that task. It's just off my plate, off my shoulders, and it leads to so much less overwhelm for me to just say, I don't have to worry about that now. I'm going to worry about that later. So like I said, I choose 3 main goals. Now, if you'll notice on the board behind me, there are 4 different colors of sticky notes up there. Well, the yellow is my personal goals. That's just totally personal things like weight loss, books I want to read for pleasure, going to the beach, saving for Disney, that kind of stuff. That's not necessarily on a 90-day plan. That's just stuff I want to remember for myself. So that's all the way on one side, and those are just part of my personal goals. The other 3 colors are my business goals. And this is where I am laser focused. If something does not go on this board, it does not get done. It does not get worried about. I don't spend time on it. Don't even think about it, because otherwise it can lead to overwhelm and it can lead to not getting the things done that are truly my priority. It is a problem for so many of us who are artists and never expected that we would actually have to become entrepreneurs when we took on this business. And, as I learn more about managing my business, I understand that because I'm a free spirit, I really need to know exactly what I want to focus on so that I can be creative when it comes to my art, but I can be focused when it comes to my business. If you'll notice from previous weeks, those of you who have been watching my channel, the board has been mostly cleared because we are about to start a new quarter. Q2 is going to be April, May, and June of this year. I have my 3 goals set out. Now, these are just blank ones because I wanted to make sure that these sticky notes were going to stick up there. The colors have changed because unfortunately I could not find the same colors of Post-it notes that I was using before. So I went by Walmart and I found these little sticky notes cubes. Here's how I go through the process. I set every quarter 3 main goals. No more than 3. It could be less if I had just one main goal. Like if I was just focused on publishing my books, then I would just focus on one main overarching goal. But I usually have 3. I don't ever have more than 3. Other than including my personal, I only have 3 business goals. And the reason for this is because if you start getting 4, 5, 6 business goals that are like, and a business goal is not just necessarily, finish a rough draft. I'm talking about overarching business goals, and I'll walk you through what mine are for this next quarter so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. These are big goals, and the more you add, the more you've got on your plate, and you really will learn over time how much you can handle in one quarter or one segment of time. Okay, so I set 3 main goals. And then once I know exactly what those goals are, I start to figure out and think for each goal, what's going to get me to that goal? What things are going to move me in the right direction? And if I think about something like putting a book up on Wattpad, if that task or that project doesn't move me toward the goal that I'm trying to achieve, then it gets X'd out. It becomes something that is not a priority. So I will walk you guys through kind of how I plan or what this looks like later. But I have a ton of these like Happy Planner disc notebooks, and I punched out some of my own grid paper and just started writing out my own goals. So I will show you a close-up of this in just a minute. But the first goal for me this year, and this is my blue goal on the Post-it notes, is to publish and promote both new and backlist titles to increase my average income to, and I always put a good, better, and best, $15,000, $20,000, or $30,000 a month by June 30th, which is the end of this quarter. So that is my blue goal. And when I think about this goal, is to publish and promote brand new books and my backlist title books to raise my income up. So that is the goal in a nutshell. And then when I start to look at what I can do to achieve that goal, that's when I start to put out my projects. So my projects for this goal are things like publish Sacrifice Me, outline and publish Deceiving Darkness, which is book 10 in my series, outline Witch's Mark. This is not going to be published this quarter, but it is a Willow Harbor book, and I'd like to have it outlined and potentially the rough draft done. Paperbacks, reformat my remaining paperbacks because I have old covers on those. Ads and promotions for my backlist titles, and ding ding ding, I'm going to be posting Death's Awakening, one of my backlist titles, to Wattpad. So those are my projects, and if something does not fall within those projects, then it does not get done under this goal. If there was something else that I wanted to do, like for publish or promotions, like I'm going to reach out to bloggers, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, it would go on my next quarter system, because I have to stay focused within what is going to get me to my goals this 90 days. Then I take that project. So for example, Publish Sacrifice Me is project number 1 under goal number 1. So then I take that project. So for example, Publishing Sacrifice Me is project number 1 under goal number 1 of making $15,000 a month this cycle. So under that, I have tasks. The tasks are what gets written. I actually have that up there wrong. I'm actually realizing that I have those up there wrong because the purple tasks are my Sarra Cannon writing tasks. But anyway, so I take each one of those tasks and I put them on a purple sticky note. So it's not the project or the goal that goes up on the board, it's the actual task. So for example, underneath Sacrifice Me, I've got, finish the rough draft, publish part 1 of the serial, finalize the edits, send it to betas, publish part 2, format my arcs, send them to my arc team, create teasers and post 1 per week, send out my newsletter, apply for a book bub on 4/2. So I've got everything I need to do to publish and promote Sacrifice Me goes on one of these sticky notes, and it will go up on the board. Now, my second goal for this quarter is the blue ones, so I do need to switch those around. Increase fan engagement on social media, the blog, and my newsletter by 10%, 15%, or 30%. So those are my good, better, best goals. And underneath that, I will write out the projects that I'm going to use to get me to that goal for this 90 days. Let me know if you guys have any questions about how I've set these things up, but hopefully you understand the structure is I've got the main goal to increase my fan engagement. Then I have the projects underneath it, like a Facebook Live strategy, a newsletter strategy, different things like this. Then underneath each one of those projects, I have the specific tasks that are going under it. And the tasks are where you really drill down to the minutia, the small things that need to happen on a daily basis. And having that stuff actually written out is what really, really makes things for me. And that's the things, those little minor details are the ones that go up on the board for me. And I'm going to show you in just a minute how I actually use those. But first I'm going to go through goal number 3. So goal number 3 for this quarter for me is to grow heart breathings with quality, consistent content to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and my newsletter. And then underneath that goal, I have a list of projects that hopefully will help me get to that magic goal, like 1,000 subscriber number. So that is my entire focus. All of those things are my entire focus for the upcoming 90 days. And if it doesn't fall into those 90-day goals, then it doesn't even fall on my shoulders. If there's an emergency situation that it's like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot to do this, then I will work on it. But there's other things, like I really am starting to consider getting my books, more of my books, into audio. It's something I think could be a really good moneymaker for me, and it could promote my backlist. But right now, I don't have time to add that to my plate, so it will go onto a list of things I'm considering doing for quarter 3. But it's just such a relief off my chest to not have to worry about that this 90 days. I know it's important, but I cannot do every single tiny little thing. The more I stay focused, the better off I'm going to be. So that is the first part of this video. For the second part of this video, I'm going to show you how I actually use the board behind me. Since it is the end of March and I'm going to be moving into a new quarter, I'm going to be clearing all of this off and starting over. Okay, so here is the virgin board. There's almost nothing on it. You'll see that there are some yellow stickies that I'm carrying over from last time, but this basically is just a dry erase board that I got off of Amazon. It's really like wallpaper dry erase board. It's not like one that's on a frame, and I just cut it up exactly the dimensions that I wanted, and I prettied it up with some ribbon and a bow up here. And then I added some washi tape, and some of it is going to be easy to see and some will be a little bit harder. But as you can see, I've got this top part here that says master plan, and then it's numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you can see, like right here, I also have a little strip of white washi tape to just delineate the 3 and 4 goals here. Then in the middle, I have a section that says get it done. And then at the bottom, it says awesome job. The way I use this board is I set my 3 goals that I walked you through earlier for my 90-day plan. The 1, 2, and 3 goals that are over here at the top, those are my 3 business goals for this 90 days. And what I'm gonna do here in a minute is I will write out all of my projects and tasks on sticky notes of different colors, and I will put them into either goal number 1, goal 2, or goal 3. And they will all start up here at the top of the board. Then, as I begin to work on something, I will move it to this middle get it done section, where that will be the tasks that I'm working on at the moment. And then once a task is completed, it will move to awesome job. This is actually a board that's called a Kanban board, I think is how you say it. It's Kanban. And it is a business or personal development tool to help you manage your projects. And so I sort of adapted it to my own 90-day plan, and I will show you how I set it up at the beginning of each 90 days. Okay, so what I have here are all of those tasks that I was talking about in my color-coded system. I've got goal number 1 is purple, 2 is blue, and 3 is pink. And I've written down all those tasks that I'm going to complete over the next 90 days. And now I'm just going to put them up on the board. This was goal number 1 about publishing, promoting my backlist titles, and this is by far, as you can tell from the number of tasks, this is where I'm going to be spending most of my time. And the reason for that is because that's where most of my money comes from. And I know this over the course of the past several years, so that's where I want to focus my time. Now I also go really granular on this, so I put like formatting every single thing, sending it to beta readers, sending it to ARC readers, finishing 10,000 words, because it makes me feel better the more things I can move down. And as I explained before, this is my master plan. These are all my goals and tasks. Then I've got to get it done, which is this is what I'm currently working on. And then down here, awesome job, is what I've already completed. So for example, I've already moved sending part 1 of Sacrifice Me over here to beta readers. This is already on my getting done because this is my next task to complete. With my second goal, which is my Sarra Cannon marketing goal, which is to increase fan engagement, I will take a look at the beginning of every week and say, okay, what thing am I going to focus on this week? And I'll move that stuff down. So probably the first thing that I'm going to be focusing in on is I'm going to rebrand my newsletter welcome page, and then I'm going to create an ad on Facebook targeting my fans to increase engagement there. Then when it comes to Heart Breathings, which is my pink goal, this is getting my subscribers up to 1,000 people. I'm going to look here and I'm going to say, okay, first thing that I need to do is to create my April images, which is for the first 30 days, and I need to write the April content for my blog and record my April videos. So once I've got these goals and these tasks up here, I know at the beginning of each week I can select the things that I'm going to focus on and work on this week, and they get moved to this second section of the board. Then when something's done, like once I'm done creating April images for the blog, I move it down here to awesome job, and I know that it's done. And as this begins to fill up over the course of the quarter, it just really starts to make me feel super accomplished. I know exactly what needs to be done, exactly what hasn't gotten done yet, and exactly what I'm focusing on this week, which for me helps clear out so much overwhelm, because I feel like, okay, if it's not in this middle section, I don't have to worry about it this week. As long as it's still up here, it's not on my plate yet. And then as I start moving things down, I can see that, okay, this is exactly what I'm focusing on. And that helps me to really focus my time, be much more clear about where I'm spending my time, and overall it helps me get a lot more done. So this is my 90-day Kanban board that is for my productivity for my business. Okay, so I'm just going to show you real quick how I make a printable 90-day plan that looks really good, that has the 30, 60, and 90-day goals to it. I just go to Google Slides, and this is free. It's sort of like PowerPoint presentation that you can start a new presentation. You could do something like this inside of Word also, but I just like the way it looks in Google Slides. And you can see here that I've got a Q1 90-day plan and my Q2 90-day plan. So I originally just opened my Q1 and made a copy, and then I went in and reorganized this one. So you can see up here, Sarra Cannon 90-day plan, and I just formatted the slide to be 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper in the orientation. And then I won't take you through exactly how I did this unless you guys are interested to see how I set it up, but I just created some tables here and then colored them in so they look really nice and pretty, and it's kind of branded to my Heart Breathings colors. But my theme for this 90 days is embracing ass kicker sweetie, and that is just a nickname that my husband has for me. Evil sweetie is when I am being really down on myself, and ass kicker sweetie is when I'm kicking ass. So I am going to kick ass this 90 days. And you can see here I've got my outcome goals in this left column. So there's that: to publish and promote both new and backlist titles to increase my average income to $15,000, $20,000, or $30,000 a month by June 30th. Then the second goal, increase fan engagement across social media, blog, and my newsletter. And then the final goal this quarter is to launch my new Heart Breathings website. And oops, I need to change that because this is still wording from last 90 days. So I'm going to just go in and change that to use quality, consistent content to grow my list or YouTube to 1K, 1,500, or 3K subscribers by June 30th. And all of this stuff is just editable, so then I export it as a PDF. Then what I have here is for each outcome goal, I have my 30-day milestone, my 60-day milestone, and my 90-day milestone. This is not every single task that I have to do over the 90 days, but these are just kind of like the bigger parts of the projects that I want to have done. So that way, like at the end of April, the first 30 days, I can look and I can mark these off if I've done them, or I can see that I am behind. At the end of April, I will reevaluate this and I will check off any of these things that I have completed, or I'll put an arrow into the next 60 days for things that I have not yet completed. And I have those 30, 60, and 90-day milestones for each one of my 3 goals. Then beneath this, I have a little goal check card, which these are the same goals. Goal number 1 is the same one, goal number 2, goal number 3, but these are my 30-day goals. These are the same things that you see up here in the 30-day column. It's just now I've put them all on this one sheet, and then this is my 60-day goals and my 90-day goals, and I will show you in just a minute how I use that, and I just print those out and put it up on my bulletin board so that I can check those off as I go. If you guys would like to get a free copy of my 90-day plan so that you can have this as a template and just fill it in for yourself, let me know in the comments below and I will get that out to you. So one final thing I want to show you. I can't show you the entire bulletin board because it does have some of my covers on it that are not revealed, but I have this one section of my bulletin board where I have my 90-day milestones, and I've made these little printables that say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Then I've taken those Google Slides that you saw me create earlier, and I've printed them out, cut them to size, and I have put them on my bulletin board so that I can check these off as I go, where I know where goal 1, goal 2, and goal number 3 stand every 30, 60, and 90 days, and that stays front and center. I also have a printout of that first slide there that was my entire 90-day plan. I printed out like this and I put it beside my desk, and then I also printed out in like 75% size, and I put it in my planner for the 90 days. Okay, so that concludes this like super epic video about how I plan my 90 days. But I really hope that you guys can see that once you set your main goals and you figure out what your main priorities are, it really does take a lot of the overwhelm out of the equation, because I know that over the next 90 days, starting April 1st, all I have to do is exactly what's on that board, and I'm going to move closer to my goals. It takes away a lot of the like guessing work in terms of of, well, what's going to help me increase my income? What's going to help me increase my fan engagement and my newsletter list and more people clicking and opening it? I have done the work up front. I have taken, I usually take at least 2 or 3 days of really deep thought on, okay, what's worked in the past, really looking at, okay, people are loving the Facebook Live, so I'm going to do more of that. This other thing maybe didn't work out so well, so I'm going to do less of that, or I'm going to cut it out entirely. It takes really looking strategically at the things that have worked best for you in the past, and then taking the upfront time to figure out where your goals are, where your priorities are for the next 90 days or whatever segment of time, and then figuring out what your game plan is. Then at the end of this 90 days, when most of these tasks are done, if I still haven't hit my goals, then I can reevaluate and say, okay, why didn't I hit my goals? Is it because I didn't finish everything that I intended to finish? Or is it because these things didn't work? And if they didn't work, then I'm going to choose something else for the next 90 days. And I continue to optimize my process, optimize my business, and to focus on the things that are the most important for growing the business in the way that is most important to me. I know this has been a long video, but thank you for sticking with it. I hope that this will help you also learn to plan your own business and to help you focus in on the things that are most important. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, let me know down below in the comments. And if you guys would like a free template of the Google Slides 90-day plan that I have, please let me know and I will add that as a free download in a future video. And I just really appreciate you guys sticking around and being a part of this channel. Thank you so much to those of you who have also suggested some future videos, and I will be taking those requests into account and hopefully being able to cover some of that stuff in the coming weeks. All right, thanks so much, you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.